I visited my grandmother and she tested positive for COVID. We both had masks on and we were 6 feet apart the whole time.
No need to quarantine. My wife was identified as a close contact to somebody she works with COVID-19, and she is quarantining. The rest of the household family members can attend work and school.
My husband tested positive for COVID. We are staying in separate rooms of the house.
Quarantine for 14 days.
My daughter tested positive for COVID, and there's no space to keep her away from other household members.
All household members start their 14-day quarantine after their last contact with a positive person, which would be 10 days after your daughter's symptoms started or when she tested positive, if asymptomatic. Total time home will be 24 days.
My wife tested positive for COVID on October 1st, and our whole household began quarantining on October 2nd. My youngest child tested positive for COVID on October 5th.
All household members would need to restart their 14-day quarantine beginning on October 6th.
I am sick with symptoms, but don't want to be tested.
Stay at home for 10 days from the start of symptoms.
I tested positive for COVID, but have no symptoms.
Stay home for 10 days after the day of the positive test.
I am sick with symptoms, but went to the doctor and was diagnosed with strep throat.
Stay home for 24 hours and until fever-free and symptoms are improving.
I am sick with symptoms, but tested negative for COVID.
Stay home for 24 hours and until fever-free and symptoms are improving.
On Monday, my son was sent home from school with symptoms of COVID and was told to stay home for 10 days. My son was never tested for COVID. My wife tested positive for COVID on Friday of the same week, and my son was around his mother all week. My wife began isolating in a separate room on Friday.
Since your son was never tested for COVID-19, we don't know if that is what he was ill with. Since he was in close contact with your wife, he would begin his 14-day quarantine on Saturday. Total time home, 19 days.